your tech career, how you can leverage on network effect to effectively position your tech career. So the term network effects, we will discuss it both from a startup perspective, from a solution perspective, but our main focus today will be around how to leverage these concepts in your own technology career. Does anyone know what network effect is? Is a technical term. It means something when we say network effect. Does anyone know what it is? Who wants to help us?
Yeah,
Network
let me
effect.
try. Let me try.
Please go ahead.
From the way it sounds, actually, to me, it means the the effect of networking in the tech. Yes, I hope I'm clear.
Okay.
The effect of networking, yes.
Yeah. So you are clear, but you are not correct. That's not what we mean when we say network effect. Uh, But
Okay.
who else wants to try?
Yeah, let me try. Yeah, from my understanding, I feel network effect in the tech ecosystem refers to uh, the phenomenon or situation where a product or service become more valuable as more people uses that particular service or product.
Fantastic. So that's absolutely correct. But do you want to describe it in a bit better so the rest of the team can also pick this up? So that's fantastic. That's the classic definition of network effect, which is that a product or service becomes more valuable the more people that use it. But could you describe that in a bit more? Can anyone else try in terms of just explaining network effect?
Good evening.
Good evening.
I'm thinking of using an example like maybe WhatsApp, like when
Okay.
it started up to now. As more people started using it, it started getting more value, it started getting more popular. And if you compare someone selling WhatsApp when it started to selling it now, you can see that the value has seriously increased.
Fantastic. And that's a fantastic example. It's one of the examples I was going to use. But let me use, for those that still haven't understood the concept of network effect, let's use the Uber or any rideshare app that you use. A typical passenger would use Uber if I know that every time I call for a ride, there is likely going to be a driver around me. Is that correct? At the same time, a driver will be more interested in staying on Uber's platform if he knows or she knows that every time I'm ready to pick up a passenger, there are a number of passengers that will be interested in taking a ride with in my car or with my service. And so naturally, as a passenger, you will likely use the rideshare app, Uber in this case, that you know it will give you a driver as quickly as possible. And so one of the reasons why you may choose to use that particular ride sharing app would be because, oh, they have enough drivers. And so I know that I'm not going to wait 1 hour before I get assigned to a driver. And it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. The more there are drivers, the more there are riders. And because there are more riders, there will be more drivers. And it keeps going up and up and up that way. And so that classic definition is that this service or this product becomes more valuable because more people are using it. WhatsApp, another example, but let's use Facebook as an example. Social media generally. your social media platform becomes more valuable because you know a number of my friends are here. And so the chances of you wanting to switch is going to be dependent on a lot of things, but you'll find it easier to switch to a different social media platform if you know that these, my friends, are going to be on this same social media platform. Who doesn't understand what network effect is from a general definition sense? Because today, and you can read a lot more around network effects online. You can find there's a lot of study that has been done. There are different types of network effect. There's a lot of study that has been done as regards this phenomenon. In fact, it is actually one of the ways companies, startup, can defend their defensibility in terms of defending their against competition. One of the ways that works very well is having that network effect to say the more customers we have, the less likely anybody will want to leave. The more customers that we have, the less likely anybody will say they want to cancel their subscription. The more customers that we have, the more likely that they will find much more value on this platform, that they will want to stay on this platform. And that's network effect. You'll find it all around you, from the fact that for those that are in Nigeria, you would find that a number of people at some point would choose to use a particular network, MTN or Glo, because a number of people use it and it's cheaper to call. And so you could drop price because you are within a closed network. You will find it with rides sharing. You will find it in so many different sectors and industry. Who doesn't understand the concept of network effect now that we've shared a little bit about it? All right. So if you understand, could you give us an example in the charts of network effects? Industry example, software example, service example, things that you use that you now realize, oh, this is probably part of the reason why I use it. Could you drop it in the chat so that we know that we are on the same page? My focus today is not really about network effect itself. My focus today is how you can leverage this phenomena to accelerate your technology career or accelerate your startup if you're a startup founder as well. I'm expecting messages in the chat. Examples of network effects, industry where we can find network effects, things around you where you can find network effects. I'm not seeing messages. Okay, am I still online?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yes.
Okay then. So I'll pause for just a moment. I'm hoping that. So are we typing or what's going on? I'm not seeing any message. Interesting. Going to a restaurant. Interesting. Mary, could you tell us a bit more around that? Why you feel like that has some sort of network effect?
Yeah, I think in terms of posting reviews online about the restaurants would encourage more people to um purchase from the restaurant. So that way, more and more and more people know about it. More and more people start to patronize them. So their value increases that way. For example, I think what's the name of this restaurant? This item 7. Because I remember when they started to where they are now. So due to
Mhm.
more and more people patronizing them, they could build different branches in different states, building up their franchise, if I can say that.
Hmm. Okay, so I may be wrong, but I think what you just described is something called viral effects, right? It's not the classic, it's not an example per se of network effect, but it really doesn't matter because from our perspective of the conversation we are having today, what you've explained also leverages on what asking you to consider as you build your career. So what you are talking about is more viral effects than the classic network effect, but it's understood what you've said, and hopefully everybody got the concept of what you said. Like I said, why we're doing this conversation is I want you to understand that concept. I want you to pay attention to that concept, and then I want us to apply it to the things that you are doing from both your career perspective or maybe your organization's perspective. Who's going next? Peter has spoken already before. There are a few people here. You've not said anything. Also, just to remind everyone that this is a video-based meeting. You're supposed to be on video. Okay, so I'm not sure what's happening. Emmanuel, what's the issue? You've not said anything.
Yeah, I sent a message already.
Oh, you did send a message. Emmanuel sent a message. Oh, okay, Emmanuel, tell me about it. So you said internet as a whole.
Yeah, so the more people using the internet, the more its value keeps going. I mean, it is for connecting people, right? So since there are more people it is connecting, then its value keeps going up.
Okay, I'll accept that as yes, I would accept that. The internet as a whole can qualify as an example, but I think you're talking more around social media and specific aspects of the internet itself. But yeah, we can accept that as long as we have an understanding of what we are focused on. Oh, there are two Emmanuels. Emmanuel is Emike. Network effects.
Hello, good evening. So I just joined in, so I'm trying to.
All right then. Joshua, network effects.
Yeah, like I mentioned, delivery services. Yeah,
Okay.
for like Uber Eats, for example, the more delivery drivers join their network or restaurants, they gain more value. Or the more people use their services, they gain more value.
Yeah, good. And that's what I want us to then consider from the perspective of our tech career. But let's look at the exponential attending a particular church. Interesting. Olabisi, could you tell us about that? Attending a particular church. You're mute if you're talking.
Can you hear me, sir?
Yeah, we can hear you now.
Okay, so I'm just looking at it from a perspective of the church, where you find people attending a particular church recently, basically because maybe a certain celebrity they admire attends that church, or they find some particular person, maybe in their caucus, some set of people that they think they want to network with attend that particular church. So that in a way brings growth to that church, brings popularity to that church, maximize the popularity of that church, and somewhat in some kind of way, it's brings networking, and then I believe that's another perspective to look at network effects.
Fantastic. It's not a perspective I thought of personally before, but I think it does meet the criteria of network effect, which is the more people use it, the more value that thing is to each individual at the end of the day. I'm sharing my screen, and the phone is one of the example that of network effect, particularly now and also back in the days when it was the time of landline. And at that point in time, the value of a phone, the fact that many of the people around you have a phone, it doesn't matter which network and so on, makes you want to also own a phone because it makes it more valuable to not just you, but everybody else to be able to have that phone. But one other thing I want you to just see is the level of connection in terms of the number of possible connection. When there are two nodes in the network, there's only one connection. But can you count when there are 5 nodes in the network? How many connections are formed? While you count, and then if there are, how many nodes are these? 6 times 12 nodes in the network. How many connections are possible? If you look at it from the number of connections, who's going to tell us how many? How many connections are formed when there are 5 nodes in the network? Okay, this class is interesting today. Very quiet. There are 5 nodes. How many connections are formed? Am I still online?
Is it 12?
Okay.
You
I
can
would
see
have
12.
thought, is it 12? Well, 5. I'm counting myself. I'll have thought it's 9, but I may be wrong.
I count
5,
9.
because there's a formula to calculate it actually. So there's a formula to calculate for network effect in terms of how many nodes will be created based on the number of networks, how many connections will be created based on the number of nodes that are in that network. But I think the point I'm trying to help you see is that 2 connections, 2 nodes, 1 connection, 5 nodes, many more connections, 12 nodes, a lot more connections. And there's actually a number. And if you make it 13 nodes, you will see that the connection increases much more exponentially. This is just an image showing what network effect looks like from a perspective of Uber, because you could also change a lever by the price. And that's why you would see things like surge pricing in Uber and a number of other ride-sharing platforms. And what they try to do is that if there are now a reduction in the number of drivers in the supply, then they could increase their price to try and level out that demand at that point in time. And so hopefully we get the idea of network effects. Now, the question is, why should I pay attention? Why is this important? Why is this important from the perspective of my journey? Why is this important in my career? Why should I pay attention? And why should I leverage it to help me stay ahead of competition and to help me continue to grow in my career? And so let me ask you a question. Mr. A trained under Steve Jobs. Mr. B trained under Badi Adeshemowo. Who would you like to train under, Mr. A or Mr. B? Hopefully everybody knows who Steve Jobs is.
Mr. A.
All right. Hopefully it's unanimous. All right. I have the opportunity for internship in Google, or I have an opportunity for internship in Bincom. Which one should I choose? Hopefully it's unanimous. I want to invite someone to speak at my event, and I have the opportunity of choosing between two speakers. And both of them will come if I choose them. I have the opportunity of choosing Elon Musk. I have the opportunity of choosing Badi Adeshemowo. Who should I choose? Hopefully it's unanimous as well. This is now the discussion. Why? Why did you choose? And I suspect it will have been unanimous across everyone in the conversation. Why did you choose A and not B? Why did you choose Google and not Bincom? Why did you choose Elon Musk and not Badi Adeshemowo in those scenarios? Who wants to help us? It's pretty obvious, but then what is the why? Okay, maybe I should just be calling people now. Emeka, why? Yeah, I see messages in the chat, but I'd like us to discuss as well. Why? Value. Oh, okay, Emeka has gone off. Emmanuel Adekombi, why? Tell us more about the value that you mentioned.
Yeah, so I'd like to speak in terms of the internship. That's an internship at Google and an internship at Bincom. Yeah, so having Google as a company that I have experience with in my CV will provide more value to me. And
Why?
for
I'm trying
commercial,
you to knock into it will provide more value because
yeah, Google is a bigger company compared to Bincom,
yes,
and
agreed.
they've built their popularity, reputation over time.
Agreed. And
Yeah.
so there's something you haven't connected.
I'm not sure you're talking about that.
Oh, you're not sure what's the name. And so that popularity,
Maybe they provide more networking.
so I think it's more that the Google brand will rub off on your own profile, is what you're trying to say.
Yeah, actually.
Yeah, so and that's the part I'm saying you hadn't yet connected because this is a bigger brand. This is a more trusted brand. This is a $1 billion brand versus a $1 million brand, right? And you're saying that between those two brands, the chances of some of the things that in terms of career aspiration, growth, and so on, the chances are higher at a certain level. Right. And I think that would be likely what everybody else is saying, reputation, social influence, and some of the other comments I've seen in the chat. And this is true But here's the next question. I have an opportunity for internship in Bincom, or I have opportunity of no internship at all. What should I choose? Because, and hopefully it's unanimous at that point as well to say you should probably choose that one because it's better than nothing if those are the two choices that you have. Now, the reason why I use this analogy is because it's easy for us to show, because I compared a $1 million brand to a $1 billion brand, and I compared the $1 million brand to zero. But in between all of that gradient, you will see that there are several different other options. And of course, life is never a 0 and 1. Sometimes it's 0.1, sometimes it's 0 to 100, sometimes it's 0 to 2. It changes, right? But the key point I'm trying to use is just help us to see that analogy. Now, here's the question. And here's the thing that I'm trying to get all of us to then see. To say the same reason why it was obvious to everyone to say, I will choose X over Y, is the same reason why people would choose your profile over other people's profile, or choose other people's profile over your profile. Because believe it or not, you are in competition. You are in competition with other people that do the exact same thing as you do. You are in competition for opportunity. You are in competition for space. You are in competition for exposure. You are always in competition. And one of the ways in which you can beat your competition is by leveraging on opportunities. And a number of time, opportunity begets opportunity that begets opportunity. So let me go examples. And these are things that Bincom asks you to do on a day-to-day basis. It would be nice to speak at CES, to speak at TEDx, to speak at TED, to speak at global stages. But a number of times, the people that manage those stages will not open up their stage to you if you have not done something at a certain level. And those certain level will not open up the opportunity to you if you have not done something at maybe at a smaller level. And so from a Bincom perspective, they ask you to do something like community events, host meetups, organize meetups, no matter how small, micro events. And what they ask you to do is that become a host or a facilitator in these smaller events. What typically would happen is that your network starts growing. The quantity of your network and also the quality of your network. The key point is to start from somewhere, because gradually but surely, what would happen is, because you've been able to speak in a crowd of 5 people, then you have the capacity to speak in a crowd of maybe 50. Because you've been able to speak in a crowd of 50, you have the capacity to speak in a crowd of maybe 500, and it will keep growing that way. In fact, the person that is hosting the 500-man event that is looking for a speaker will likely find you because, oh, I was part of a network or a part of a session where this person spoke in a smaller setting. And so if you start observing what I'm trying to paint, is that gradually, because you've had some success, it begets some more success, it begets some more success, and it keeps going that way. The question is, are you taking that first step? I showed you the picture around the phone, for example, and this is coming to relationships that you should be building as well. To say 2 nodes, 1 connection. But then if you have many more nodes, you have many more connections. And a number of times we don't know who other people know. So you may know who you know, but you don't know who the people you know. Sometimes it's 1 second, one opportunity that opens a door that you will find valuable for your journey, for your career. And I think the key point I'm then making is that you want to make sure that you are strategic, you are conscious about the level of exposure that you are building, leveraging on it to help you in beating competition. You want to show up in multiple places. You want your name to show up in different places, in different things, in different activities. Because all of a sudden, your network starts paying attention. The more people, the more valuable it is to you. It's a known concept, and that same reason is the reason why you picked one brand over the other brand. That same reason is the reason why you picked this person over this other person. I use the example of I'm organizing an event. If you put Elon Musk is coming to your event, physical event, and you rent a hall of 1,000 people, do you think the event would, do you think that all will take the number of people that will show up? Most likely not. Because there's a brand presence that it carries. Some people that don't even care about your own brand or whatever it is you are doing, they care about the fact that, oh, I get to see Elon Musk for the very first time and so on. And so they are very interested in showing up because of the level of authority figure that is showing up. Not necessarily because I'm going to learn anything from him immediately, but because, oh, this is the person coming, it must be a big deal. That's the reason why others use celebrities, brands use celebrities as celebrity ambassadors and so on. And the key point to you is very simple. What should you be doing? You want to show up in as many places as possible. You want to build relationships and connections. You want to leverage on the things that you have and flog them well towards the things that you could have. From a income context, they would ask you to do the likes of KD, knowledge development, which is spend some time to prepare a presentation to teach other people within your own system, your own organization. They will ask you to do the likes of community events. They will ask you to do the likes of external events, which is attend an event at least once a month. They will ask you to do all of those things. We're saying that all of those things, one of those things may not do much. But once you start doing all of them, more of them, many of them, all at the same time, it starts compounding the effect. Think about a water drop. Think about a tap. And I open the tap and it's only dripping one drop per, let's say, per minute. So the tap isn't fully closed and it is dripping by one drop of water every minute. So it means that it's not really dripping a lot, just a drop every minute. If I go back to where that tap is dripping a day later, there will likely not be a visible mark on the floor where the water drop is dropping. But go back there 30 days later, you will possibly start seeing a dent where that water drop is dropping. Go back there 1 year later, it will possibly have created a small pothole where that water is dripping. And although it's just still that same one droplet every minute, it starts compounding. It starts compounding. It starts compounding. And it is not just additive, it is actually exponential. What do I mean? There's this riddle that says, and I'm trying to form it properly in my head so that I don't give away the answer, but maybe I'll just give away the answer as I form it in my head. So the riddle says that a room, it doubles in size every day. How long would it take to, I can't remember it properly, but pretty much what they were talking about is that it doubles in size. If it doubles in size every day, the first time is 1 times 1, so that's 2. Second time is doubling again. 2 times 2 is 4. 4 times 4 is not 8, is 16. And then 16 times 16 is, and then you keep going that way because it is actually compounding. So it is not additive. 4 times 4, some people said 8 there. It's not, right? And that's the key point that we're trying to say, yes, each one of these things that they're asking you to do, each one of these things that you need to do, it may not have much of an effect by itself. But by the time you start compounding all of these things together, you're building your network, you're building your relationships, you're building the things that you should do. You're creating public artifacts in the right places. You're speaking in the right places. You are appearing on stages, and that is also helping you appear on bigger stages. It starts doing something to you and something to your profile. Don't just focus on learning the skills. Don't just focus on gaining the experience. Those are important. You will be the empty vessel that shouts the loudest if you don't have those things. But also focus on that exposure leg. Because sometimes there's something called the hidden job market, for example, and they say that over 50% of roles are landed. And I'll talk about this on this session one of these times. Most people, over 50% of people actually land roles before those roles are publicized in any job portal. And that's because of relationship and things like that. But how do you build those things? You build them gradually and it starts compounding. You know 2 people, those 2 people know 2 people, those 2 people, and that means that your network is growing and is growing exponentially as well. And so you can build career success through connections. You need to think about not just what you know, who you know, but what's who you know. And you should focus on building more connections. Finally, I was just looking at my notes. Finally, don't expect that these things will happen organically. You may be lucky and they happen organically. But because you now know about these things, you can be strategic in your approach to building your career. And that's what we are trying to bring to your attention. Because although we may not know the specific opportunity that is going to come from all of these activities, we have an idea the kind of power that they have. And hopefully that helps us, inspires us to also pay attention to the way we are building our career. Not just the how, but the why you should do so. I'll pause for questions at this point. Any questions?
Yes, sir. Can you hear me, sir?
Yeah, go ahead.
So, in terms of, graduate.
Yeah, maybe you're a bit far from your mic, so I can hear you, but it's a bit low.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yeah, it's better now.
So, in terms of your
Now you've gone off again.
can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Okay. So, I know sometimes people say basically, so, when it comes
I'm so sorry, Mary. So it keeps fading off after you start the sentence. Let's try one more time. If not, then you can type it in the chat.
Let's start now.
Yes, I can hear you.
In terms of the network of you building your own network, help secrets.
I can hear you. So sorry, Mary. Type it in the chat. Yeah, type it in the chat. I will pick it up from the chat. Any more questions? All right. If you don't have questions, then I have to ask you questions. That's how this session goes. So I'll pause
Okay.
again. Questions?
Okay, I have a question. Okay, I just want to know, can network effect work against an individual?
Definitely.
Okay, how?
How can it work against an individual?
Yes, sir.
So there's a word that says you are infamous, and you can Google that word. It's the opposite of being famous. So you are famous for the wrong thing, and it's something that can happen. You can be famous for the wrong thing. In terms of network effects, there would also be the issue. So let's use the Uber example. Why would people leave Uber? If I try to get a ride and increasingly there's no car every time I go to Uber, I will likely not want to use Uber next time, right? And an example would be, and this is more viral than network effect, but it's still the same thing. You see a nice shop or restaurant or anything, and you see a lot of negative review. What are the chances that you would want to use that particular company or shop? Possibly low, because you see negative review, you are also, so yeah, those are ways in which it could be negative, and that's part of the reason why you want to be able to control your own narrative as much as possible. Mary, are you still typing? Okay, then. Yeah, so let me ask the question then.
I have a question, sir.
Okay, then, Emeka, please go ahead.
Yeah. Please, network effect, we are talking about it in terms of individuals, but when I have a startup that, that is doing well at its stage, do I need to force everybody to know that this is mine, or can I just have a startup that is doing well, my face is not attached to it?
Uh, Ask the question again. So you're saying that I have a startup, but you're at the back of the startup, but people don't know you are the one running the startup.
Yes.
Okay, so what's the question?
The question is, is it necessary to make everyone know that I am the owner of this just to build network?
Uh, So I did a session just last week on this platform. You may want to watch the video because we spoke a bit around that. And I also used some of my own experience to say that what you've just discussed is the way I've built businesses for many years, but the world has changed. The world has changed to a point where you likely want to be visible as an individual. So as you are building your startup, you want to continue building your profile at the same time. In some cases, a best way of doing that is being the face of your startup. So that way, as your startup is growing, you are growing as well in terms of reputation. As your startup is growing, you're growing in terms of reputation. And even if you choose to leave your startup later and you are the ex-head of this startup and things like that, you still have that reputation and you can continue growing. The problem would be your startup is growing, but then you are not growing at all. If you then leave, you still would need to build yourself over time all the way up. It doesn't always work that way, though. Sometimes it may be best for you not to be visible. Sometimes it may be best for you to be visible. But generally speaking, the world has changed. We are no longer in the world where TikTok, for example, people generally expect you to be able to be visible and stuff like that. It's the world of Web 2.0, Web 3.0, and it's up to you to then decide what is the strategy for yourself. Hopefully, I answered the question. But if you go back to that session, usually the replay video are available within the community, so you can go back and see what my views are as to it. My views have changed over the years as regards this, and that's from personal experience. Yeah. So Mary, you said hidden job market. I've heard that one of the ways to shove your work in the face of people, but it's the same people you are going to be doing every time. But the key part you missed out on this, let me read it for those watching the video later. In terms of building your own network and landing roles before they are even published, I've heard that one way to do that is to shove your work in the faces of everyone out there one day till it clicks. I mostly agree. Doesn't this work against you? Which is that whether you're working smart or working hard, because what if you keep on shoving it into the connections that will have minor effects? The key part you're missing there, Mary, is the fact that as you're doing that, you should also consciously be growing the number of nodes. So you are not just stuck with the same 20 people that have known you, but gradually you are growing the number of nodes to 50 to 500 to 50,000 and so on. So the effect may be the same. It may be the same thing you are posting, but now it is reaching more people. You've seen it in social media, and I'm not saying go and build yourself to have 50,000 followers or 1 million followers or anything like that. If you can, that's fine. It's helpful, but that's not what I'm talking about. What I'm saying is that gradually you are building a reputation for yourself in your niche. And that reputation itself sometimes will precede you. That reputation sometimes will open doors for you. And don't think about it to say what I'm doing is so small, because I'm saying it has a compounding and a multiplier effect. And I've used the whole concept of network effect to help you see this. Hopefully, I answered your question. All right, 1 more minute. Thank you so much, everyone. Hopefully, this was useful. What I ask you to do would be, could you drop one thing that you learned from this session today by way of feedback? Let us know what you did learn during this session today. Was this useful? Why was it useful? So don't just tell me it was useful. Tell me something that you found useful. And you can do that in the network where you found out about this session, or the Emigr8 internal, or wherever, whatever community you're joining from. You can let us know there. And many of those communities I'm there. And also the feedback will be useful to the facilitator. Thank you so much, and wishing you the very best in your journey. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much, sir, for sharing that wonderful and amazing insight with us. I believe everyone on the call has learned one or two things that they need to incorporate in their tech career journey. Thank you guys for joining today's session. And if you have questions that you like to direct to the facilitator, well, you can reach out to him on Slack, or you can reach out to me, and then we'll be able to reach out to him. So thank you guys for joining today's session. See you again next week. Thank you. Have a lovely weekend.